Okay.
Sorry. Here. Yes. Continue, please.
Okay. Which facilities should receive money from local authorities, museums, sports centers, public gardens? Some opinions expressed in the discussions. Museums aren't popular with anybody. Sports centers mean healthier people. A town needs green spaces. Parks are great for everybody. Okay, write an essay discussing two of the facilities in your notes. You should explain which facility is more important for local authorities to give money to, given reasons in support of your answer. You may, if you wish, make use of the opinions expressed in the discussion, but you should use your own words as far as possible.
Okay, well, as you see, it is not so easy. I want to be honest with you. It is not like, just an essay. No, no, no. But if you follow the tips that we were checking in the previous class that you can watch in the previous video, and you follow the instructions, you have, how do you say this? Like a map. A map that you can use in order to arrive to your destination. So in this case, it says, attended a panel discussion, facilities that receive money. Yeah. So they mentioned three of them. Think about the one that you would like to talk. Which facilities should receive this money? Which are the two more important for you? Maybe you are a teacher, and maybe you consider museums important. But maybe you are more like a sport person. You say, people need to be fit or need to enjoy their life by doing sports, or people need a place to relax in gardens. So which remember that you can only discuss two of them. Don't go for the three of them. This is a horrible mistake. Because if you talk about the three of them, you may be overpassing the number of words and you won't be able to cover all the points for the three of these facilities. So they ask you to write about two of them. For me, I think it would be, I don't know, teacher. Really difficult. Okay, tell me. Right. For you, which ones? In the chat. I don't know. I need your ideas, guys. Please. What do you say? For you, the two of them. Public parks. Yes, I know you're right. Sports centers and public gardens. Says Gabby. Yes, Gabby, I know. But you know, Gabby always wins. So sorry. Museums. Yes, Ere. I think so too. It is really difficult. Okay, what about the rest of the people? Tell me. Write it. Write it. Sports centers and museums, Lou says. Yes. Ay, so difficult. Alvaro says sports centers. Yes, too. And especially if they have beautiful parks inside. So you can cover 2 points. Yeah, museums and sports centers. Says Lucero. Hello, Lucero. Oh,
Hi, teacher.
hi, Oleguer. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
And can you give me reasons for your choice? Some reasons. All of you. Yes.
Well, in my case, I decide. I choose museums and sport centers because I think it's important to keep our minds and ourselves, physically talking, healthy. So at least here in Mexico, sometimes people think that that kind of places like sport centers or museums are not so important. And I guess here in Mexico, I read that it is a city with one of the most, well, it's a city who has a lot of museums. I
Museum.
think it it takes place like in the second, it takes the second place in like a city who has a lot of museums. How do you say that?
Museum. Museum.
Museums. Thank you.
Ah,
In the world or something like that. So many
ah,
people don't know that. So I think it's important to encourage, that activity. Well, like
ah.
going to museums and
Museum
so
going. Museum
museum
going.
drawings. Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. I would design, I would build a complete museum for you, Lucero. The Pozole Museum.
Oh, great. It would be the best museum in the
Uh-huh.
world,
You
I
can
bet.
eat, you can eat
Oh,
pozole
yes.
in this
It would
museum.
be really great. That's my dream, my
Uh-huh.
golden dream.
Okay, okay. Well, excellent. Yes. Well,
Yes.
yeah, as you can see, you have to choose between 3 points first. Uh-huh. And then they tell you, you have to give reasons for your answers. Of course, you have to support your idea, but they suggest some of these ideas that you can include in your writing, but you should use these ideas in your own words. You should express these ideas in your own words. For example, they say, I am popular with everybody. Sport museums mean healthier people. So you can choose from the suggested ideas. They always suggest some ideas, but remember, you need to use your own words. We were talking about how was this word? Plagiarism. Plagiarism. Very difficult to pronounce, to be honest. Plagiarism. Yeah, when you steal someone else's ideas and you put it into words. So talking about it, you will find all the resources that I used for this presentation. So if you want to check the websites that I used, I visited, and I read for this class, you can go at the end of the presentation, you will find the sources, okay? Also important to include that. Well, so remember, you should use your own words. Well, then it says essay task sample. Read the following task and study it in class. Well, in this case, now we are going to check one sample essay. Teacher, you are the best teacher in human history. Yes, I know, because I put it all together for you. So we have, this is one sample essay so that we can analyze the different parts of this essay and the different ideas. But I will need volunteers. I don't want to mention victims. One volunteer to read the first 2 paragraphs. Who says me? Lucero, thank you. Okay, Lucero. Thank you.
Okay. Nowadays, many facilities could use money from local authorities. There are people who claim that cultural institutions should receive more money than others' facilities. But which one should receive more investment in open to debate?
Is
Is open
open
is
to
open
debate.
is open to debate. On the one hand, museums should be the institutions that need to receive a lot of money because people have lost the interest in visiting and promoting
In
them.
visiting and
Visiting,
promoting.
okay, and in visiting and promoting them. In a world where true values are not respected as they should be, it is important to remember what really matters. Moreover, the young men should be aware of the importance of knowing basic things in different domains. For example, science and history museums provide people very interesting information, Therefore, in
Very
order to have
interesting. Very
interesting,
interesting.
very interesting informations. Therefore, in order to have well-informed teenagers, the local authorities should give money to museums. With that
Museums.
money, museums. With that money, it can be organized events like the Day of Open Museums. Ah,
Aguacate. Ajá.
aguacate, yes,
Ajá.
aguacate.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Another volunteer. Who says me?
Me.
Okay. Ere. Thank you.
Yes. On the other hand, green spaces should also receive money from local authorities, mainly because in big cities, where the air is very polluted, trees can absorb many of the gases produced, leading to a much healthier environment. Furthermore, there can be built spaces for kids to play and also running tracks for people who cannot afford to go to the gym. It is important for people to keep doing exercise in open air, and in my opinion, parks are the best place. All in all, as far as I am concerned, the most important facility that should receive invest from local authority are the museums.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Lucero and Ere. Uh-huh. Well, as you can see, there is a very specific structure that they are following. Well, we are going to start with the first paragraph. What is the function of the first paragraph?
The introduction.
It is the intro. Do you remember what your intro should include or what you should do in the intro?
Like an overall idea.
You need to introduce the topic.
The topic, yeah.
To introduce the thesis of your essay. The main idea. So nowadays many facilities could use the money from local authorities. Okay, you are saying something general. You start mainly, and I would say it is not the only way you can do it, but it is a very how do you say this? A very logical way to start. You make a general statement. All the facilities, no matter which ones, the museums, the sports centers, and the parks. But then you go into a more specific idea. There are people who claim that cultural institutions should receive more money than other facilities. Like, is it fair? You start with introducing the question. That is why here it is not properly a question, but it is like let's read it first. But which ones should receive more investment is open to debate. It is like you start the question. Which institution? Which ones? From these three. So you introduce the topic and the main question or the main point of your essay. Okay? Well, then what happens in the second paragraph?
One of the topics is develop. For
okay, what is the main idea?
The museums, why the museums should receive more facilities from the local authority.
This is let's say, the main, I would say here you have your topic sentence. Remember that we were talking about topic sentence and supportive sentences? So a topic sentence is the one that contains the main idea of the paragraph. As Ere said, museums. You're saying museums should be the ones that receive the money because of that. And then the next sentences go supporting this main idea. So maybe you give some extra comments, but all of these phrases, well, all of these sentences go following this function to support the main idea. Also, something that I wanted to remark, to highlight, is the use of conjunctions and phrases. Moreover, for example, on the one hand, nowadays, I want to make it fast so that we can move. But I don't want to leave this without you noticing. For example, another one, mainly because of something. On the other hand, in the first paragraph, they use on the one hand, on the other hand. Pay attention to this. It is not extremely necessary that you use the two of them, but at least if you use on the one hand, you have to use on the other hand. You can use on the other hand alone in a second paragraph. But if you are going to use the two of them, you need to follow this structure. On the one hand, and then the first paragraph. On the other hand, the second paragraph, to make it understandable. Well, furthermore, all of these are all in all. I think this is a little bit informal, but maybe I could write something more formal, like as a conclusion, or we are going to check some phrases during the course. So, questions, problems here. Sorry. On the other hand, what is the I was missing. This was missing. On the other hand, what is the main idea of this paragraph?
To support museums and parks.
To support museums, okay. Lou?
To contrast the idea of the first paragraph.
The two things are correct. One of the functions was to contrast the first paragraph. But also, as Ere said, to introduce the other, or to talk about the other aspect that we should consider. So far we are like fulfilling all the points, including all the points. So green spaces like parks, and again you have the how do you say this? This topic sentence. On the other hand, green spaces should also receive more money from local authorities. And all the other sentences go to support this too. And then you have the conclusion in the final paragraph. Remember, your conclusion shouldn't be too long. Your introduction and your conclusion, they should be short. Because the main points of each aspect are presented in their own paragraphs. And remember, don't include new points in the conclusion. It is just to summarize all the previous words and give a final statement. And of course, to reinforce your opinion. Because the opinion is clear here. She says museums and green spaces. But your conclusion should be like a final sentence that explains why it is important to do it like this. And your opinion. As far as I am concerned, I love these phrases. The most important facility that should receive investment from local authority are the museums. At the end, you choose only one, but considering the two previous things that you decided to talk about. So remember, you talk about these two things because it is part of what they ask you to do, to evaluate two of these ideas. And then you, in your conclusion, you choose only one. There are some other formats for essays that we are going to check during the course. But it is like all in all, or overall, the like some sample.
Teacher,
Yes, Gabi.
for example, in this case where the person include the three facilities, there is no penalization.
In which part?
Well, he talks about the three of them.
Okay, here it is museums.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
then green
Here,
spaces.
green spaces, yes.
And then the one for doing sport.
But check. Here. But she is saying that people can do sports or can play and run in green spaces, like making them together. So
Oh, okay.
the main idea continues to be green spaces. Although, as you said, she combines the topic of sports,
Oh,
but
okay.
directing it to the point of green space.
Okay.
It is not that you cannot mention the three of them, but the ones that you should discuss, like in detail, are only two of them.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you include the three of them, it would be too much for the number of words. Because you should you should add another paragraph to discuss the other one and complete sentence and supportive sentences. So it would require more words. That is why they are only asking you to choose two. Although the three of them can be mentioned.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, but sorry, more questions. No more questions? I am not married. If you were asking. Yes, Lou is married. Recently married. Ooh, I was not invited to the wedding. No, yes, I was invited, yes, but I couldn't go.
As usual, teacher.
Yeah,
You
because
refuse my invitations.
Nuevo Laredo.
Congratulations, Lou.
Thank you, Gabby.
Yes.
Yeah, congratulations, Lou, but more congratulations to him.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah.
Thank you to all of you.
And I know I know her husband. I had the chance to meet him. Like a year ago, I think it was.
Kind of. Lucky guy.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't even haven't met you, teacher, in person. Why is that?
Okay. Well, as you can see, we have to follow a structure because it gives you order. It gives your text order, and this is important for the exam. Not only grammar and vocabulary, but also the order in which you present your ideas. That is why during the course we are going to check some essays, analyze them, and write our own essays. Today we are not writing essays, just we are reading. Just reading about essays. So the exam is marked according to four aspects or following four aspects. The first one is content. That you included the information that you were asked to include. In this case, the 2 points, the 2 ideas, and some of the ideas that supported these aspects. So that is the first one. The second one is communicative achievement. If the idea was clear for the reader in general, well, and in some other aspects. Communicative achievement. If the communication or the message was well transmitted, let's say. Then we have organization, the way in which you presented your ideas according to the paragraphs and the structure of the, how do you say this? Of the kind of text that we are writing. Not all the texts are organized in the same way. Although they may share some characteristics, not all the texts are organized in the same way. Then language, the grammar and the vocabulary you use to present your ideas. So let's start reading. The examiner makes comments about this essay that we were checking. Also, every aspect is given 5 points. For example, this person got 5 points for content. We are going to read about all the comments. This person got 3 points for communicative achievement, for the message. Maybe there were some aspects that were not so good. Then the organization was given 3. Well, maybe they are going to comment on that. And the language it was given 2. Why? Maybe it needs more.
As you said, it need to be more formal, no? The language.
I think so, but we are going to explore more about it. So, yes, I think it goes that way. Well, let's start with who says me? Alex, can you read about the content? The comment about this?
Yeah, sure. All content is relevant to the task and the target reader is fully informed. The candidate discusses 2 of the proposed facilities, museums and parks, and chooses one of them, museums, to benefit from the extra funding. The candidate discusses the reasons why each one should receive the money. Science and history museums provide people very interesting information. In order to have well-informed teenagers, the local authorities should give money to museums. Trees can absorb many of the gases produced, leading to a much healthier environment. Running tracks for people who cannot afford to go to gym. The final decision is made in the final paragraph.
Okay, so they say everything that should be included was included. This person consider all the points. So that is a good thing. So from a total of 20 points, 20 points, he has 5 so far. Or she, I don't know. Then the communicative achievement, this is for Diana, thank you. And then Alvaro.
Okay, teacher, the communicative achievement. The conventions of essay writing are used well. Let's see. There is a clear opening paragraph and strong conclusions which leave no room for doubt as to where the money should go. As far as I'm concerned, the most important facility that should receive investment from local authority are the museums.
Yes. Then
the register is consistently formal, and the essay has an objective tone, giving options and providing opinions, giving opinions and providing supporting statements with evidence. The clear paragraphing helps to hold the target reader's attention and communicate both straightforward, and more complex idea in a logical manner.
Okay. As you can see, well, it starts with the conventions of essay writing. These conventions that we said, we have mentioned this in some other classes. Well, not Ere, but the rest of you, we have seen that an essay should be formed. We learned, if you took FCE, you remember that an essay should be formal and it should cover some kind of a description of the situation and also the structure. So they say that it was clear, but the way in which they communicate these ideas should have been a little bit more formal. The register is consequently formal, and the essay has an objective tone. So but I think they needed more. So it was formal, but not so formal as it should be. So instead of receiving 5 marks, I think it received only 3. Sorry, 3. Okay, then the organization. The way you presented the text. This is for Alvaro. Thank you.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The text is well organized and coherent and uses a variety coherent and uses a variety of cohesive devices to generally good effect. The ideas are clearly introduced. Nowadays, on the other hand, moreover, for example, therefore, on the other hand, furthermore, all in all. There is a mix of long and short sentences, and some of the shorter ones could benefit from being combined. Organizational patterns are evident in the choice of language. For example, in the first paragraph, it is stated that many facilities could use money from local authorities. This then narrows to become cultural institutions should receive more money. And then the final sentence uses substitutions to set out the main idea. But which one should receive more investment is open to debate.
Okay. So in this case, they tell you the text is well organized, coherent. Coherent means logical. That it was presented in a logical way so far. Cohesive devices. These phrases, linking words. But then they tell you, you know what? Okay, it was short and long sentences, but they say some sentences could have been better presented by being combined, which the person didn't do. Short sentences were only short and long sentences were only long. But these short sentences could have been a little bit longer. So maybe it was the reason why they only give this person 3 marks. And then the kind of language, let's see what the problem was. Okay. I consider it was not so bad, but maybe, well, people have different opinions. Well, let's check the reasons. So let me choose a victim. Gabby, thank you.
Yes, teacher. There is a range of relevant vocabulary, but this is not always used successfully to communicate full ideas. Take, for example, in a world where true values are not respected as they should be, it is important to remember what really matters. Although this has an appropriate tone and is accurate, it has little relevance to the text as a whole and adds no extra information. A range of simple and some more complex grammatical structures is used with control. However, there are a few word order and pronoun problems, such as it can be organized organized events there can be built. There are also errors with plural and articles, but these do not impede communication. The most important facility are the museums, afford to go to gym, exercises in open air.
Okay, so they tell you, oops, It says some of the vocabulary or was relevant, but some information or some information given was not really relevant to the points that he was trying to make, and some grammar mistakes and yeah, mainly grammar mistakes like this one. It can be organized events. Well, it may be, or it could be maybe, and they can be built. So some grammar mistakes here. The most important facility is museums. Although it is, because it is referring to one, the most important facility is a museum. But some of the most important facilities, in plural, are museums. So just be careful with that. Afford to go to the gym. No, afford going to the gym. Some grammar mistakes, but although grammar and vocabulary mistakes are important, I think the part of the relevance is even more important. Try not to write things that shouldn't be there because they may be considered irrelevant. And maybe you are adding information that was not asked to be given, or some ideas that may be out of place. So we are going to check more sample essays so you can improve that part. Okay, questions, problems here?
Chair,
Yes, Lucero.
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, they are two. Well, the first one, you say something about the content. In that point, we have to add the information that is asked, just like that.
Can you ask it again? Sorry.
Yes, that you were saying something about content. And my doubt is if for do it in the right way, we have to do it with the information that it asked or they ask. Okay.
Yes. I think Lucero, I don't know if you were in that class. It was some months ago. I was with Lou. I think it was Lou. That we were talking about once in a teaching course. I was really happy. I was going to write my first essay. I was like, oh, I am going to write this and this and this, and I had a lot of ideas. And I was really happy, and I spent a long time writing it. I spent like 3 days, like reading and writing and moving because we had the time. It was not for an exam. It was a request from one of the teachers. So I decided to include a lot of information. And then sopatelas, as we say, sopas. When I received my grade, it was horrible. I was really disappointed. And when I was reading the comments of my teacher, at the beginning I was angry, but later I saw she was right. She was right. I included a lot of information that was not asked and was not relevant for the points they wanted or they wanted me to analyze. So this is a very important thing to consider. And I am saving you a lot of disappointment and a lot of time. So focus only on the 2 things that they ask you. On all the. For this, you can prepare some kind of a checklist. You underline point 1, underline point 2, If there is another point, underline point. Well, we are going to do it during the course. We are going to analyze the instructions and see how we can make this checklist so that we don't leave out information that we should be including, and we don't give extra information we shouldn't be including.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay,
teacher.
Marguerite. Okay,
I
Marguerite.
have another question.
I am not married.
No, that one not.
A boy showing off. Luke wrote it. A boy showing off. Yes.
Come on,
Okay.
teacher.
No, Lou said that. Not me.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so.
Well, my next question is, in the last paragraph, there is a part that I don't know why we are using is instead of are. Well, I don't know if you can see where it says a range of simple and some. Where are you?
Here.
Yes, just in the last paragraph.
Okay.
Where it says a range of simple and some more complex grammatical structures is used.
Yeah,
What?
because it says arrange.
Okay. Okay, okay.
So they are, that is the kind of thing that we have to pay attention to. And I think it is, your observation is good, because you would say, why, if it is structures, here it is plural, we are using is. But this comes from this structure, a range of is used.
Okay.
A lot, for example, it happens the same with a lot. A lot of people is coming to the city.
Okay.
And sometimes in some places you will see it with plural. A lot of people are coming to the city. So
Okay.
I am not saying that one is wrong and the other is right. I am saying that sometimes these things happen with grammar. People use grammar in the way that think it is correct. But, well, we are going to check some books too, so that we have a better idea of what we should do for the exam. A lot of grammar. We are checking a lot of grammar. Sorry. I know you hate grammar, but I love it. Okay.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. More questions? No more questions? Diana, I am not married. I know you have that question, Diana. Sorry.
No, teacher, I don't have questions.
No. No mangoes. Okay.
No sweet manguito.
Well, thank you. Okay, excellent. So this is about essays. In general. Of course, we are going to check more things about essays during the course, but I wanted to do this kind of exercise with you because I never did it with my teachers. And I think it was necessary for me. And my teachers always showed like one part of an essay and only the things in the book, but I didn't have a general idea of an essay really until I became a teacher and I needed to write more essays. So I thought it was important to do all of this. Okay. Then part 2, remember, the written part of the exam is 2 parts. Part 1 is an essay. And in part 2, you can have, or you can choose different options. So, who is there? Ere, can you read this part, please?
Yes. I'm sorry. What is in part 2? You write a text from a choice of text types: letter, email, proposal, report, or review. To guide your writing, you will be given information about context, topic, purpose, and target reader. What do I have to practice? Writing the different types of text that could be included in the exam. How many questions are there? 3 tasks from which you must choose one. How much do I have to write? 220 to 260 words.
Okay, so they are telling you, in part 2, you have options, different options. Letter, well, these kind of letters that they ask you to write are formal and formal emails. Sometimes formal academic letters or email. Proposal, it is they are asking you to give an idea or a suggestion about something new, maybe a new what? A new place for a library, or they want you to suggest a new activity in the school. So you need to write these proposals, and they have a very nice structure. I love them. Reports, well, reports are more formal, and they include only factual, real information, and you need to write a suggestion. And a review also with a recommendation or an opinion about something. Then information about context. As you see, they give you like some general information about what you have to include. And sometimes they include nice information for you. Well, topic purpose. What is the main topic, the main idea, and the purpose of the writing? And the target reader, who is going to read your text? Okay. Well, here we have, for example, they are the general instructions for part 2. Write an answer to one of the questions 2 to 4. They give you 2. Remember that part 1 is the essay. That is why this is number 2, number 3, and number 4. So you need to choose only one from these options. So in this case, the first one is a report to your manager. The second one is a review of a book. In the past, they used to give you specific books to read. But nowadays, as people, well, they publish the options, and people never had time to read the books. So nowadays, they make it more general. So send us a review of a book, of a film that focuses on somebody who has made an important contribution. Okay, and then a letter, receive a letter for an English friend. In this case, this letter is not very formal, but there are some others which are more formal. So let's start by talking about the review. Teacher, you are so nice. You make it so easy for us. I know. Lou, can you read the review, please?
Sure, teacher. You see the following announcement on our website. Great lights. Reviews wanted. Send us a review of a book or film that focuses on somebody who has made an important contribution to society. Did you learn anything new about the person's life from the book or film? Did the book or film help you understand why this person made this important contribution? Write your review.
In this case, also from 220 to 260 words, all the writings. No matter if it is an essay or a review. So again, you need to read the instructions and focus on the things that you need to include. As we did in the essay, that we read the instructions. I need to include this, and this. So it is a review of a film, of a book, a person with a great contribution. I don't know, to society. Maybe Gandhi. I read a book about Gandhi. I read a book about Einstein also. So think about that person. Who could that person be? Then it has to be, it cannot be about your mother or about your father unless they have made an important, very important contribution. So be careful with that, because sometimes they ask, someone in your family. Okay, someone in my family. But this one has to be someone that you really consider to be important for society, not just for you. You are not the center of the universe. Sorry to tell you. So, also, you have to mention anything new that you learn from the persons, from this book that you didn't know before. And if the book, and how you did the book or film help to understand why this person, And I think in a review, apart from this, you need to give, to say why you recommend watching this film. It is it is not very common to write a review on a book that you don't recommend, unless you are a professional. So in this case, it should be a book that you recommend and why you recommend it, and what would be the contribution of a person if this person decides to read it. Okay, continue, Lu, please. Sorry.
No, it's okay. A review is one of the possible text types in the second part of the writing. It is written traditionally for an English language magazine, newspaper, or website. The main purpose is to describe and express a personal opinion about something which the writer has experienced. For example, a film, a holiday, a product, a website, etc. And to give the reader a clear impression of what the item discussed is like. Description and explanation are the functions for this task, and a review will normally include a recommendation to the reader.
Okay, I think it is very clear. So it could be from a magazine, newspaper, or a website. Who is going to read it depends on the kind of the website. Sometimes they mention it. So in this case, you Great Lives, but it doesn't say much. Well, only that it is a website. Sometimes it includes a website for teenagers, for example, a website for university students. Sometimes it is more specific about it. And or a magazine or a newspaper. Then remember, it can be a book, a film, a holiday, a product, or a website. So focus on, you can start like checking reviews for Kai, for a film, or these kind of things. We are going to check many. And remember, it is you have to describe, explain, and recommend. You have to describe the film, the book, the product, the restaurant, something. You have to describe it. You have to explain why it is a good place. Not only describe it, but you have to link it to your own ideas. And at the end, you give a final recommendation. And why is this place going to, no, how is this going to benefit the people who recommend, who attend or who read or who buy the product? Okay. Simple. For this one, we are not going to check a sample, sorry, because it could take us forever. But maybe next class, because I couldn't include one. So, questions about the reviews before we move to the next. Who says me? No? Gabi? Alex?
No,
Say
teacher.
me, please. No?
It's okay.
Somebody
Teacher.
save me. Okay. Well, I think now we have a better idea. Yes, Ere.
No, any questions? Sorry, and thank you.
No questions? Uh-huh. Well, I think now we have a better idea of an essay and a review. Well, let's go for a report. Oh, teacher. Uh-huh. It says a report. Who else is there? Alex, can you read this, please?
Yes, a report. You have just completed 6 months in a new job. In preparation for a progress meeting, you have been asked to write a report to your manager. Your report should explain what you feel you have achieved in the job so far, describe any problems you have had, and suggest any future training that would be suitable. Write your report.
Uh-huh. So in this case, check it. What things do you need to include? Uh-huh.
Your experience
Your experience in what?
in the job, like your achievements.
Uh-huh. You need to write a description of your achievement. Uh-huh. It says your report should explain what you feel you have achieved. So you are going to describe this, what you think you achieved so far. And what else? Two other things.
You should describe any problems that you've had and suggest something from the future training.
So in this case, they tell you, okay, you have to explain and describe all the progress and how you and what you have achieved, but also the problems, maybe another paragraph. And at the end, a suggestion. In a report, you should always write a suggestion because that is the main part of a report, to suggest a solution for a problem that you have observed. A report without a solution is totally useless. For some companies, okay, they just want real numbers and that's it. But in an academic way, I would say, a report should always consider a solution. Okay. So, can you read this part, Alvaro, please?
Yes, teacher. Yes, a report in C1 Advanced is usually writing for superior, for example, a manager, director, or for peer group that could be other students or members of a club that you are a member of as well. In a report, you always have to describe and evaluate a situation and usually suggest some course of action that you would recommend.
Okay. So in this part, they tell you always for a superior, maybe a teacher, an authority, a director, your boss. So a report is always written for a superior or a group of people who are going to analyze something. In this case, can be a council, a council or maybe a group of citizens or a group of teachers. So you always have to describe and evaluate the situation. First describe it and why is it good and bad, and suggest actions. Okay, Alvaro, please. Can you continue, please?
Yes. And there are three main areas of focus when writing a report. Present factual information. Effective and efficient text organization. Write paragraph structure. Relevant headings. Linking words. Suggestions. Recommendations. Every report has a suggestion or recommendation at the end of it because that's the sole purpose of writing a report.
The main purpose. Okay. So in this case, factual information refers to real information. Of course, during the exam, you can invent because you are not going to do everything like in real life. But you can invent the information, but you need to present it as real information. For example, if they ask you to write a report on the current state of the facilities in your school and some suggestions, you should invent it. You can invent it during the exam, or you can remember when you the last time you were studying the situation in that moment, but you need to present it as if they were real during the exam. When they refer to effective and efficient text organization, yes, that first it has to prepare the reader, to inform the reader about the situation in general. Then you go into details and you can also use headings. Headings will give you order, will give your report order. Headings are like, for example, if we are talking about the current state of the school facilities, you can say, you can write a heading that says current state, or the kitchen, for example, or the library, and you describe the library. So it gives like order to your idea also. This paragraph structure, well, we said first the intro, the body of the report, and then at the end the suggestions. Linking words that well are also necessary to make this reading easier. And always your suggestion. Okay. Well, today, before we finish today, because we are going to continue talking about the letter and the, what was the other? The proposal next Wednesday. I want you to think about the ones which are more difficult for you. Which is more difficult for you? An essay, a report, or a review? Okay, write it here. And why? For showing off, yes. Okay, which one is more difficult for you? Essay, a report, or a review? An essay is more difficult, says Lucero. Luego an essay. A review for a... Yes, well, we need to focus on that too. Because most of the people always say an essay. Well, most of the people say an essay is more difficult. And we teachers tend to pay more attention to essays, or to give more attention to essays. But you are right. We need to consider reviews too. Alex says report. Maybe you will need more reports than essays in your life, I think, to be honest.
That's what I was thinking about. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for work you will need more reports. And if you are married, you need to report to the toxic girl. Well, so I am going to open the rooms. I want you to discuss which one is more difficult and why. And then we join here again. Analyze the three of them. You can go into the presentation and mention some of the aspects that we were checking about the essay. The essay, the review, and the report. Which is more difficult and why, and what aspect of each one is difficult. or easier for you. I don't know. Let me open the rooms. Ooh. And which one do you think you will choose during the exam? If you imagine you have this the different options that we checked, which one will you choose? Okay, 3 rooms. Okay, go there. Tell your partner.
Specific when you are reading the introduction and the conclusion. I think is the key in this kind of papers. For the reason I think it's more complicated to write essays.
Yeah, I agree.
Diana, can you repeat? I was not recording you. I want to record you.
Okay. Well, I was thought the girls that for me is complicated to write essays because I think is largest than the others.
Longer, they are longer.
They are longer. You need to be a lot information about that topic in specific, and the structure is a little bit complicated because I think the key is the introduction and the conclusion. You need to be more specific in these 2 parts because I think it's the impact when you read the essay.
I think you're right. Like the essays are not longer, not in the exam, but maybe they feel longer because of the structure. But the length of all the writings is the same, just that maybe the ideas are a little bit more complicated to present, as you said. And I think you're totally right. The introduction and the conclusion are like the strongest part of an essay. Yes. And for you, Gabby?
Well, in general, all the writing section for me, it's like the most difficult. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe the review or the report. Because what is complicated to me is the structure and the vocabulary. So I don't have like the vocabulary that I wish I had. So I tend to use basic structures in repeated occasions, and also the words I use like basic words. And what else? And also for me to write the specific thing they ask, it's a little bit complicated. I tend to like write the paragraphs a little bit with a little bit confusion sometimes, and at least
You don't feel very sure.
yes, yeah, and at the end it turns that I didn't answer the specific thing that they asked, so that's also a problem. Yes.
Okay, Gabby, I will give you the solution, but you have to pay more money.
Okay, teacher. If you assure me I will get my C1 by July.
Aguanta, Gabby.
For sure. For
I'm
sure.
not God.
Yes. You have a mission, a special mission with us, teacher.
For July? Oops. Okay. Maybe we
No?
should take
God.
extra classes.
You don't think we can do it, teacher?
Maybe for next year, yes.
What? No, teacher, we don't have 1 year, teacher.
But we will be working very hard. Don't worry.
We don't have time, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Don't worry.
Maybe you can
Uh,
send us like a record of your secrets, and you can use it at night while we are sleeping. So you-
something I was planning to do, Gabby, was well, apart from recording these lessons and uploading them on YouTube. Apart from that, I am planning to record lessons about very specific topics, advanced topics. Because I have been studying a lot of vocabulary these days for many topics, and some of these topics could be relevant for the exam. So if I record them, you can check them. I don't know if you will have to pay extra money. I don't know yet. But I need to be rich also for July. About July.
A lot of wishes to achieve, teacher, by July. We also want to be rich by July.
Don't you want to get married too by July?
First, being rich and
First, yeah.
Well,
First
I
be
think.
rich, and after that, if you want, you
Yeah.
can do it. But
Well, if you get richer, you will have more chances to find a husband. It increases the chances. Ay, qué horrible. Okay.
Why, teacher?
What?
Why?
No, me. Horrible me. Not you. Okay. Well, the solution, Gabby. First, your checklist. So that you know what you have to include always. You need to understand the instructions really well first. Before you start writing. And you need to give time for preparation for your essay, your review, your report. Everything needs to be planned. Why? This plan will give better structure to your reading, to your writing, to your text. And then, what else? Your checklist. Then we are going to learn more about how to write paragraphs, because I can see that is the question a lot of students have. How should I write an introduction? What should I say in an introduction? They don't even know how to start, and that is a horrible problem. Because it can take you a long time to start writing. So we need to focus on the structure of the introduction. That is why I hear you when we talk about the essay, when it says clear thesis, that is what the introduction should do, to present the thesis, your main idea, but in an organized way. And that is why here, where is it? There is one. Include an engaging introduction where it says topic, provide context, and lead into the thesis statement. Present the topic in a general way. Then provide context for the situation. What is the current situation? And then what is your idea? What is your opinion about it? Or what is the main purpose of your writing? Well,
Okay.
that could help you a lot. And Lucero, what about you? Which one is the most difficult for you, Lucero?
Like I wrote it, essay, I would say it is the most difficult for me.
Why?
And because sometimes it's kind of difficult to link ideas, and maybe to to have cohesion. It's kind of a problem because maybe you have the idea, but if you don't know how to write it in the right way and how to link it, it could be a mess. So uh, I don't like it. And also you
There
have
are
to.
there are three ways to improve that.
Mhm.
Susana.
Yeah.
Three ways to improve cohesion in your writings. The first one is practice. You need to practice how to put sentences together by using different linkers. The second one is practice. You need to learn how to put your ideas using different linkers. And the third one is practice again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I will do it. So that's why I'm studying hard.
Yeah, the thing is that we need to know the function of many linkers and the punctuation, how they work in the punctuation area, let's say, in the punctuation field. So we need to learn that, and if they are formal or informal also. So it is quite complicated, but I think we can cover it. We cover it.
I have a question
Yes.
again.
I have a
So,
question, teacher.
so in this case, when we are talking about review and report, both of them are formal writing. We have to write it in a formal way.
A report, yes. Depending on the kind of report.
Okay.
But I would say a report is usually formal because it is for an authority in general. So I think a report is always formal. But a review can be quite informal depending on the website or the magazine or the target reader. Maybe you are writing
Okay.
for a teenagers magazine, like
Okay.
de 15 a 20. Something like
Okay.
so you should use the language at the level of the people from these ages. So,
Okay.
but if it is a review of a new product for hospital or companies like health companies, you need to adapt the language and the structure. Well, not the structure, the language and the ideas, the way you present your ideas.
Okay.
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 So let's
Thank you,
go.
teacher.
Can we go to the main room and ask the rest of the people?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Let's go. See you in a bit.
Teacher.
Sorry, Lu. You know good things cannot be forever.
They should, but yes, you are right.
Okay, this is the time, Lu, and everyone, when you start your camera. Thank you. Ayaha.
Teacher, you're recording, and I am how could I say this, undercover person.
You are
Not really.
you are working undercover.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't do it. Well, I want to know which one is the most difficult for you and why. Maybe some of you said that, but I want to listen to you. So what about you, Ere? Which one is the most difficult for you?
I was telling to Alvaro that maybe the
Telling
report
Alvaro?
that I sorry somebody is working here
Mm.
just upstairs.
Next door.
Yeah. I was telling Alvaro that maybe the report is going to be a difficult part for me because it's hard to talk or to write about facts facts that I don't know or I'm sorry facts that I don't know or yeah to I mean I need to to have an imaginary situation and to report it and then to give a suggestion is like it depends of the topic I will be asked to write. Maybe if the topic is something familiar for me, it will be easy, but if not, I don't know.
Mhm, mhm. In general, the topics for reports are for facilities, what else? Facilities in schools or cultural activities to promote, the state of some facilities in your country or in your neighborhood. So it is like something like that. And by analyzing some reports, and you will see that headings help you a lot. I think headings are very useful because they help you to follow a clear structure with headings, like introduction, then the state of current state of facilities, then some previous information about it, and then you just give the suggestion. So it is easy, but as you said, maybe when it is not a topic you are familiarized with, it could be more complicated. Okay,
more
thank
difficult,
you.
yeah.
Thank you, Ere. Well,
You're welcome.
what about you, Lu? Which one do you think is the hardest and why?
Well, actually, I was telling Alex that I consider essay is my coco, you know.
There is a word in
Okay.
a conundrum.
Okay, why don't you
Like,
write it down on the chat?
I know the spelling is horrible, Lu.
Come on, you're the teacher and you know everything
No,
about
but the thing is that well, as the president says, I give it to you for homework. A conundrum. A conundrum is something that makes you think about something regularly. Like, how can I improve that, or how can I change that? Because it is something that you have it in mind all the time.
How did you pronounce it?
A conundrum.
¿Con qué?
Conundrum.
¿Con what?
¿Qué? ¿Con qué? Conundrum. Yeah, I don't remember the spelling. It is really difficult.
CONUNDRUM, conundrum.
Can you write it?
Sure.
Okay. Yes. But why, Lu?
Well, because I was listening to Ere, and that's my point. I need to be familiarized with the topic in order to you know, I'm always parroting and I say a lot of things and I really like.
I know.
Come on, teacher. And I really like writing down a lot of ideas. And as far as we have only 220 to 260 words, and I find it really difficult on one hand, but on the other hand, if the topic is not something that I'm familiarized with, I feel really, really nervous about it. And I started, I'm blank at the beginning.
And how do you think you can overcome that problem?
Well, the point is that we don't really know what they are asking about the topic. I mean, they are asking you.
You cannot prevent it, like you cannot see the future.
Yeah.
Conundrum, yes. I would say that in the different books, the different material that we have for C1, for CAE, there are many topics, and the material that we are using for the course, which is the Objective CAE by Cambridge, Objective CAE. It has the topics, the suggested topics for the exam, and that is why we need to check different topics so that we can get familiarized with different topics, not only the ones that we maybe you are, I don't know, an architect, so you know a lot about architecture, but you need to familiarize with other topics for the exam, and that is why
Yes.
all these units include that information.
Yes, I know that. But for instance, I was telling Alex when I had my SE exam, I
Mhm.
don't remember if they asked me about to write about the zoos, or I don't remember. And I said, what the, you know, and
No.
I don't know what to say about it because I'm not really informed. And it's a topic that I have spent a lot of time reading about it, you know. So when you are not really with plenty of ideas about the topic, you said, what else? What else? What should I say? Okay. And you spend a lot of time and waste a lot of time thinking about it, what to say. And it happens in an
teaching,
essay.
a teaching suggestion. Tan,
Okay.
tan, tan. Why don't you go on the internet and find out the most common topics of the exam,
Mhm.
and you
Okay.
start like reading about this. Check the topics that you are
Uh-huh.
interested, and start with those ones. And maybe you
Okay.
read about I don't know, sports, because it could be also in exam, or future plans. Start checking about it, and it would be like try to do it part of your routine, to read about these topics. Yeah, I know it is difficult when you don't know anything about the topic, but you can get more familiarized with many other.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for the
Okay.
piece of advice, because I know that we need to read a lot more about everything, but who knows everything, teacher?
Leonardo da Vinci.
Well,
Leonardo da Vinci, for sure. No, he wrote a phrase, and I have it here. This phrase is my motto. Ow! Not.
okay.
He said, "The knowledge of everything is possible." Yeah, of course, it was like 1,000 years ago, but I mean, well, not so much, but but not. I don't think. I don't really think it is possible to know everything. I don't really think so. But he said that because he wanted to know everything.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
he
I
had the
see your
hope.
point.
And the knowledge, the knowledge they had in those years, maybe was not that much as it is today. Today it will be almost impossible to know everything. But maybe in his years it was something more realistic. But not now. But I think the only illusion that he gives, that the knowledge of everything is possible, is my favorite. And I have that book here.
Okay. Okay.
The
Take a
name of the
picture
book.
and share with us, please.
Ay,
Thank
well, give
you.
me a second. It is How to Think Like Da Vinci. How to Think Like Da Vinci. One of the
Okay.
best books for me that I have read so far in my life. So far in my life.
Now that you
Okay.
mentioned, you have mentioned that. Okay.
How to Think Like Da Vinci. Okay. Well, what about you, Alex? What is the most difficult part of the writings today?
I was telling Lou that the one that I found as the most difficult is the report, because I think I haven't written many reports. So, well, maybe it's just a matter of practice, as everything in life.
The thing, Alex, is that there are many kinds of reports. For the exam, we are only analyzing an academic report, but a work or a business report is a little bit different. Maybe I want to record a lesson on that. Maybe later. So try to first focus on the kind of report you want to write, and then some of the structure is necessary.
And
But don't
another
worry.
thing I find
Uh-huh.
difficult about it is that unlike the essay or maybe the review, where you use facts, in the report you have to come up with the whole situation. And it is difficult for me to imagine things.
That is why they always ask about something that you are related to. For example, a product. I remember I last wrote a review for a product. This product. I don't know, but I know. Check it. What is it? This is for my iPad. You put it here and you can read it, but it is really, really stable. And I like it because you can move it easily and put it up. And you can also use your mobile phone. So it depends on the experience. They ask you to describe an experience. So if you, for example, I think you remember the last time you bought your computer.
Yeah, for sure.
So it will be something for which you can remember. Or for example, if it is about the school, well, they ask you about the current state of the school, and you can remember. For example, Gabby remembers how the school is, well, was in her times. So she can use that information to describe something. But I know it is like, oh, put everything together. Well, maybe with the right vocabulary, it would be easier. And the right steps. We're going to check it. Don't worry, Alex. Okay. And what about you, Alvaro? Which one is the most difficult for you?
Well, in my case, I was telling Erendira that is the essay, because there are some parts that we need to contrast the ideas, and we need to include all the contents that the evaluators or the testers put in the task. And also the time, because we need to manage the time with well, we need to do a draft, and we need to complete the task, and we need to be careful of the number of words. So there are some aspects that we need to consider in that moment. So.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. And we didn't mention much about it, but as you said, for example, in the exam, you will have a watch in front of you. You won't be allowed to enter with a clock watch or with a clock or a watch, with a watch, even a mobile phone. No. So you will have one clock on the wall, and that is why it is important to maybe what I did in my exams is you plan your time in advance. So, for example, if you have 45 minutes for this, the moment you start, you mark your time on the watch there, and you start mentally, I would say, and you start writing, and but you need to be careful and give the same amount of time for both writings. And I think it is really important that you mentioned that. Thank you. And what else? Something that you mentioned. What was the other part that you mentioned that was difficult for you? Let me try to remember. The time and the format. The format, that is why we are going to analyze if it is an essay or a report or how do you say this, a proposal. We are going to analyze more than one so that we can make sure that we are writing what we need to write. Okay, so don't worry. For the rest of the people, we were talking about it. Thank you. Next Wednesday, we are going to finish with the proposal and with the letter. And then we are going to start talking about the speaking, the interview, or the listening. No, let's first see what the speaking part is. Next class.
And Isra, I
Yes.
have a question. When are we going
Yes.
to start with the exercise and all this practice for the exam?
I think it will be next week. Next week.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
I consider it was really important to have a very concise overview of exam. Like now that I know everything, I know like the exam in general, where we can go little by little. Mhm.
okay. Thank
But
you.
it will be next week. Mhm.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So see you next Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of next
Why
Wednesday.
is that on Wednesday,
Next-
teacher? Come
Next
on.
Friday. Sorry, next Friday.
Okay.
Next Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
See you next class. Bye.
Next
See
class.
you.
Bye.
Enjoy the
See
rest
you.
of the day. I
Bye.
love you.
Bye.
See you.
Bye. See you guys. Bye.